everyone, Kate here to tell you about the books that I read in June. June was a mixed bag reading wise. I also had it ended up being a big trip. I talked about where we got a kitten, which was very exciting, but the car broke down for a day and it had already been a really tiring weekend. And then we had several stressful car days. So that really drained me and I took a long time to bounce back energy wise from that. And on many days, I was too tired to read. Or too uncomfortable because of my reflux, which I went into detail in that update video. Also, I don't know how loud it is going to be down there. The boys are playing with a friend, and who am I to stop them from playing with a friend? So I will get into the books. The first that I read, and it was a book that was very generously given to me by Owl's Nest Publishers, and that is Hertz Gets Fused. So this is a novel in verse, and I went in not knowing what to think. I kind of thought, I don't know if I'm going to like this, but I was interested enough that I did ask for a review copy, and then it completely won me over. It's one of those books that is sort of a 1-2 punch reading experience. You start it out and you're like, wow, this is full of fun, it's lively, it's humorous, and then there ends up being so much heart in it. So it really felt like Jack Yantos's Dead End in Norvelt, or also Gary Schmidt's Wednesday Wars. There was just it's something that I haven't seen this done the same way in any adult fiction. And it was just done spectacularly. Hertz accidentally starts a fire in his room. And so his mother, out of desperation, ships him off to live with a relative for the summer. An older relative who he doesn't really know, and they go to live in the trailer park that his relative lives in. And the friendships that he forms and the adventures that he has, and it's so hysterically written, and I was in tears by the end. So it was just a really special book. And Owl's Nest Publishers, I'm just confident kind of now that everything they put out is high quality. Even if it's a book that I didn't necessarily fall in love, I'm like, this is really a worthy book to be published. And so wonderful things are coming from them. And I have 2 other review copies that I have from them. And I'm currently reading Not Exactly Love, which is a tale of middle school love. And it is so fun and just written like the person is that age. And yeah, so very highly recommend Hertz Gets Fused. It's especially fun for summertime. So I definitely recommend that. Then the next book that I read was Phineas Finn, and I talked about this in my Victorian Wrap-Up that I put up recently. And it wasn't the most fun reading experience, but I got it checked off because I want to go through all of the Pallisers series, and so now it's done. Then the next one that I read was A Murder for Her Majesty. This is a middle grade mystery, and it is one that I know if I read it for the first time as a kid, I would have really, really loved it. So I did enjoy it. I thought, this is a really well-written children's book, but I didn't fall for it completely like I was hoping I would. It is all about a girl who witnesses her father's murder in Elizabethan England, and she flees because she knows that her life is in danger, and she ends up through a set of circumstances hiding out with this choir in a cathedral, and dresses like a boy and is disguised as one of the choir members. It's very cozy and warm while also having this suspenseful plot, so it kind of toes the line well. I think it's definitely worth checking out. I just thought it was going to be a 5-star reading experience, and it was more like a 4-star. And then the next one that I read was a reread, and that was Miss Buncle's book. I still have kind of the same hang-ups with Miss Buncle's book that I had before the first time that I read it, and it's very amusing and diverting, and I more wanted something that was again like the English Air, which has this ache to it. And so I do know that there are more D.E. Stevenson that are kind of like in the English Air frame. I think those are the ones by her that I'm especially going to enjoy. But the writing is very just such high quality writing, and so I was very glad that I read it. But I didn't feel completely compelled to keep reading like I did with the English Air. Then the next one that I read and was a real highlight of June for me, and that was The Moorland Cottage by Elizabeth Gaskell. And I talked about this in a recent Victorian Reading Wrap-Up, and I'll make sure to link that down below because there are several Victorian novels that I talk about in that. And then I read, for the Kindred Spirits book club for the month of June, I read The Rose Cottage. I love this book. This is a time slip romance where a woman who is grieving the recent death of her sister goes to spend time where they spent a lot of their childhood in Cornwall, and ends up slipping in time and falls in love with a man from the past. And this got kind of a mixed reaction in the Kindred Spirits Club discussion, but I just love it, and I love Susanna Kearsley's writing, and it was really lovely to be back in this world. It's very, I sink right into the story. The next one that I read was a spontaneous decision after hearing Mitzi from Mitzi Reads and Writes talk about it, and that is By the Pricking of My Thumbs by Agatha Christie. This was such a sheer delight to read. What was I going to say? Oh, this is a Tommy and Tuppence book, and I had actually tried A Secret Adversary, the first Tommy and Tuppence, and I did not like it, and I was not motivated at all to continue on. It was just, it felt campy. I don't know, and there's campy and then there's campy, and it was not a hit with me. So I was really, really glad that I picked up By the Pricking of My Thumbs. It's also Tommy and Tuppence when they're older, and they are visiting Tommy's elderly aunt in a nursing home, and Tuppence starts talking with one of the residents, and she asks, like, oh, was it your child in the fireplace? What? I'm sorry. And so intriguing. And then I did follow it up by watching, they did a Marple adaptation, so the newer series with Geraldine McEwen, and they have Miss Marple be an acquaintance of Tommy and Tuppence, or rather, actually, she is visiting someone at the same nursing home. That's how she knows them. But it was so much fun. I was just on the edge of my seat. I could not stop reading it, and highly recommend By the Pricking of My Thumbs. Then the next one was Village Centenary. This is part of the Follow Us to Fair Acre Miss Read read along, and these books are consistently good. Even the ones that are lower ranked for me, I'm still glad that I read them. There's something so whimsical and gentle about them, and they are delightful and life-giving, and they can glorify the mundane moments in life. And I love that. Then two Victorian novels, and one I've already talked about, and that is The Trumpet Major. And that is a Thomas Hardy that I had so much fun reading. So that is in my recent Victorian Wrap-Up. And then lastly, a Victorian book that as soon as I'm done filming this, I will be filming a review of it, and it is Torn Sails by Alan Raine. So I will give more thoughts on that in my review video. I realized I think I just talked very quickly because I have many Victober videos that I am wanting to film after this. So I hope I was coherent as I was speaking. Thank you as always for watching. I hope that you enjoyed some beautiful books in the month of June, and that July is treating you well, and that you're finding some new favorite books. Thank you as always for watching, and I will be back with another video soon. Bye.